Hi everybody, welcome to Vox Talks. My name is Elisa Bernstein.
And I'm Stephen Leckie. We're going to look at Donald Trump today.
We're going to take a look at his speaking skills and see what he's doing well and what he can improve upon.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice.
I think we've come up with a campaign slogan for him. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on, Elisa? I mean, I can't even discuss, I know we're supposed to be discussing his speaking skill, but basically he is so far off base in terms of even being a credible politician.
Mm-hmm. What is it exactly that he is doing up there?
Yeah, what is he doing up there? And look at how he's holding onto that paper. He's holding on for dear life to a statement that actually says very, very little. First it starts out insulting and then just turns out to have no substance to it whatsoever. What the hell is going on?
Kind of like him.
Well, yeah, it sums him up perfectly. So I'm at a bit of a loss on this one. I don't like the pounding hand. I don't like the smug look after everything he says. He always looks up like he's expecting a ticker tape, a shower of ticker tape or balloons after he says things. And yet he doesn't seem to realize that there's no substance to what he says.
It's funny to discuss him as a speaker because he's so different from the other political speakers because he's such a different kind of candidate.
Yep.
He's definitely very confident up there and he's very much himself. So one of the things that we were concerned about with others is taking on a persona and being stiff and not really sounding human. That's not an issue for him.
He sounds human to the extent that he actually appears to be human when he's up there.
Well, he sounds like himself.
Yeah,
right?
But basically, do you see there's a certain deadness in his expression and a certain limitation to his expression? His vocal expression is exceptionally limited. His gestural expression is limited. And he only comes to life when he's throwing in little inserts into what he's saying that are very repetitive, and you've heard them all before. So, but when it comes to substance, he tends to read it. He tends to get his head down and read it. So he needs to get some training in terms of he's got to get his head up. He's got to be able to think for himself. And when he thinks for himself, he has to say something that has more layers than the type of thing he actually pops up for. He looks, and it's our responsibility as speech trainers to help him. When he reads a statement, holding on to it for dear life and looking down at it, afraid to lose track of what he's saying.
It looks very weak when he
does that. Looks weak, it comes across as very weak. So I would definitely coach him on that.
Another thing that we also see here, and we see in other speakers as well, is the pounding of the gesture as they speak.
Yep. The pounding gesture replaces vocal emphasis, and it replaces, in a certain extent, a passion, a commitment to what you're saying. It's an outward attempt to convince people that I am impassioned by what I'm saying, and he's got a very bad case of this outward pounding.
Well, they watch politicians do that.
Yeah, but it robs us of any belief that he really believes in what he's doing. He thinks that if he does this, then people are going to get it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not hearing any true commitment to his substantive messages. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing only his personality coming through in these asides, these poll numbers, and it's all about Donald J. Trump. I've never heard a politician mention their own name so many times.
Right,
you know,
right.
It's like he's on the stump for somebody else, almost. And in terms of that typical politician thing, I would say get rid of it entirely. It's not necessary. You're not convincing anybody by making a loud noise with your hand or making a big move with your hand. What people are convinced by is passion, commitment, self-belief. And for those type of situations, you're looking for a gestural frame. You're looking for an openness. You're looking for a communication, a channel of communication which you set up with the arms and the eyes. So get your face out of your paper, open your gesture up. You're allowed to embellish a gesture, but not pound it. But most importantly, use the eyes and the voice to communicate and to share. And also, once you start getting rid of this, it's interesting how you begin to develop more layers, more levels in the voice.
Right, because this is so repetitive, you're going to get the same tone as you're using
Yep.
this gesture. What we're always looking for is a speaker who gets engaged in what they're saying and who shows their own personality, their range of expressions.
And that can be
And,
heard in
yeah.
the color of the voice.
Yeah.
What we get from him is a certain smugness, a certain confidence, and a certain expectation that everyone should agree with him.
Right.
As opposed to, most politicians are coming with a certain, the good ones, a certain generosity of spirit and a certain expectation that they are there to serve.
They're there to serve and to help and
To help.
solve.
World problems, right? With him, you're getting the sense of, here I am, the savior, okay? Vote for me,
Yeah.
but don't expect me to listen to you. Comes across very loud and clear in his speaking style.
So now let's take a look at how Trump speaks in an interview as opposed to a speech.
For the beheadings of these clerics and these terrorists
I
who
don't
were
like
convicted.
it. I mean, I don't like it. They're supposed to be our, our great ally. I don't like to see it. They executed all of these people. Who knows? I mean, here in this country, if we execute like one person a year, it's like a major event. They do it like routinely. Nevertheless, Saudi Arabia is sort of the one that we picked, and we are there. And I have many friends from Saudi Arabia, very good people. But Saudi Arabia's got to pay. If we're going to protect them from Iran, which we made a superpower, we gave them $150 billion. We essentially gave them the right to make nukes because that's what they're going to do. And if they don't make them, they'll just buy them because they have so much money. And, they'll be doing
The
something.
Saudi.
One of the things that all speakers need to understand is that they need to speak in a way for listeners that the listener is likely to understand. So our first advice to Trump would be, and to any
Get
politician,
organized.
organize your thought and keep it simple. There's something called inserts and tangents that we throw in, and politicians have a terrible habit of doing that because they see an opportunity to begin to answer a question and then fill it in with all kinds of other things. And they think that's clever, but they just have lost the whole listening body because we no longer know where this is going. He's a perfect example of someone that just gets completely lost. What were you saying? You said the roadmap. You need a roadmap to follow.
To follow him. I cannot keep track of what he's saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Too many ideas, too many clever ideas.
Yep.
Now, in terms of his personality coming through, more variation, like so many of the others except for Clinton, you do see more life there when he's in an interview situation.
You see a lot of life, a lot of energy, and again,
That
it's
he's
based
not
on,
accessing in a speech.
it's based on his, it's based on his external confidence. So sometimes being overconfident doesn't serve you very well.
Right. What we
don't-
want to see is the real person and the
The attempt to try
to be genuine and to be
genuine,
giving.
to help, to understand what the question is, to answer the question as sincerely as we can, instead of just, the question's almost dismissed.
Yeah.
The interviewer here actually has to cut him off at a certain point because he realizes that's a lost cause. Let's try another question.
Right.
The other thing that we counsel our speakers to do is use your contact point. The contact point is that spot between groupings of words where you actually get in contact. You hear me doing it. I'm exaggerating my contact points. But that eliminates the I mean and the and the and the completely. No need for that. Politicians should all be schooled in the contact point. Just stop, think ahead. It'll also help clarify your thinking.
And it takes away this desperation to fill the air
Yep.
and to keep talking, even if you don't
Exactly.
have something important to say.
Yep. And something important to say, you've tumbled on an interesting point with this particular candidate. But I won't get into that.
So there you go. That's our look at Donald Trump.